this crazy ride through Colombia is what happened immediately after we talked. And it's in this playlist on Shifty Drifty. And one of the things that was really crazy, this should not have any audio. I'll make sure it doesn't have any audio. So this was Eileen and myself. This is where we went through, and we got stuck in these crazy protests. So they were protesting the actions that the government was taking with COVID and this inequality of income and all kinds of stuff. And so if you really want to know a fantastic story about Colombia and South America and sort of the things that have happened down there, watch that whole Colombian playlist. It's really, it started out as Eileen and myself. So Eileen is my friend from Patagonia. We did a ride through Patagonia. That's also on, there's a ride through Mongolia or a Patagonia video that you should check out. But watch that first and then watch the Colombia stuff. And it is exactly the kind of stuff that I always wanted to do as a photographer, which was go into these places and share with people the culture, the food, the scenery, everything about that place. And so I think probably the Patagonia video that I created with Eileen, and then the ride through Colombia, which we did over 3 months, and understanding why people were protesting and what was going on in the country and the inequality of income and all that kind of stuff. We were able to share all of that through video and stills. And I think that's probably the thing that has most closely aligned with my vision of who I want to be as a photographer. And so it's been, I love being in the studio and shooting models and doing all the light sculpting and all that kind of stuff. But if I had unlimited funds, I would be doing what I just showed you full time. That's for sure what I would be doing.
Yeah, I had a similar sort of sense of that, or I got a sense of that when I spent some time in the Lofoten Islands last October with my friend Dave Williams. And we were shooting, well, actually we were teaching a workshop up there, but predominantly we're doing two things. We were shooting Northern Lights, of which Dave is the expert. But then also we had some Viking models that we took with us 24/7. So we could also shoot, we could shoot them on location across the islands. It was just unbelievable. The typical Viking landscape, and you have, a model that looks like he's straight out of Netflix. It was just unbelievable. I mean, it was so much fun, but it's also, for me, it was fun. It was really fun having a model and being able to do and to teach on location lighting and all the rest of it. But what was really fascinating was exactly that, exploring, a different culture, realizing, what life is like when you live like beyond the Arctic Circle, in a small, tiny little place that's mainly uninhabited, and mainly uninhabitable, And it was just amazing to see how people survived, and actually survive, but even by Western standards, with a really high degree of luxury, actually, in a place like that. It was really fascinating to get to know people, to talk to them and to kind of to hear their attitudes towards things. And I remember talking to a guy who's been up there for decades or something, and he's originally from Iceland, and he said when I was a young man, I used to come home from the pub, from the bar, and I used to look up at the sky and I used to say, oh God, these damn northern lights again. I used to go inside. That was like blowing my mind, because I'm thinking like, man, I've never seen it before. It's the first time I saw it. They have, just looking up the sky and seeing the northern lights, it's completely blown my mind.
Yeah.
And just to meet somebody who is so like laissez-faire about that,
right?
Because it's just a daily occurrence to them. It's just unbelievable. So it's super.
Well, I think the thing I love about traveling, and not traveling as a tourist, not going into the touristy parts of town and doing the touristy things. I do that stuff, but for me, I love going to a local place where I don't speak the language and staying with a local family and getting more of an authentic experience. And what I've discovered is that the interconnections between countries and cultures are a lot tighter than I realized at first, especially coming from the United States, maybe a conservative background, really fundamentalist conservative background. My growing up, it was like, I'm from America and this is us, and then there's everybody else. And I really had no idea how cultures influenced the things I did and said, the languages I speak, the food I ate, the beliefs that I had, and how it affects things with everyday life. And also things, especially in U.S. politics right now, things are so divisive, very, very divided. It's easy to get in your trench and be like, this is the way it is and you're wrong, from either side. And so when you start bridging those, crossing those barriers, speaking to people that maybe you don't agree with, you don't understand them, you find a lot of commonalities. And then you start discovering why they do the things they do or why they believe the things they believe. And then all of a sudden it's, at first frustrating because that black and white world falls apart and things become much more gray, and you start to see things from different angles. There's an old Calvin and Hobbes cartoon that I absolutely love, and it's Calvin talking to his mom about something that's just black and white. And then she says something, I don't remember what it is, and all of a sudden Calvin has this realization that it's not a black and white thing. And then Bill Watterson, who created Calvin and Hobbes, the rest of the comic strip is in the style of Picasso, because little Calvin can't figure out, he's like, oh no, I see all the angles for every argument and now the world doesn't make sense. Oh no, I'll have to see if I can find it and send it to you. But that's sort of what happens to you when you experience a journey like that, is things tend not to be just this is right and this is wrong. There are different points to that.
Thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed that clip, then press here for the full episode in glorious Technicolor. Hey, and don't forget to subscribe.